Here's the earth round. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Ends of SeaWorld. You've never seen that YouTube video? It was like the original YouTube video.
No. Have you seen the OG cinnamon challenge with
Yes.
Glozell?
Yes. I have.
I miss Glozell.
Same. She and I go way back. Hey, this is Ashley and Zoe, and you're listening to an episode of Not My Therapist Couch.
So we got cinnamon challenge, Tide Pod challenge. What other challenges are there
Oh, so
that have
many.
happened?
Like,
I mean, there are so many, but
Big Mac in a minute challenge.
what?
Yeah, people literally like choking down a Big Mac in a minute. No water. I would die. People do die doing these, I'm sure.
I mean, we watched Glozell's life flash before our eyes.
Glozell died like 3 times in that video, pretty sure.
It's a miracle she's still alive.
It is a miracle, truly.
Um,
So social media is a part of our lives. It's like huge. Everybody pretty much consumes some sort of social media. And, growing up, we didn't really have access to that, but now it's like at the fingertips of everybody, every child, every adult, unless there's like, parents that are doing their job. I mean,
I shouldn't
hurts.
laugh, but it's true. As a teacher, I see it.
Yeah, the truth hurts, right? I mean, I don't know. I grew up in the time of dial-up, and like it was a family computer, and I had no access to anything but like math games and where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. So like these kids these days have such access to so many things.
Yeah, I grew up with a house phone and a desktop computer for me to
Yep.
use. We didn't have streaming services like we do now.
Nope.
I know that's not like quite social media, but along the same lines of like that instant access to everything. We had Redbox. Redbox is still a thing, but like
Yes.
when we were kids, that was like we were both kids when Blockbuster was still around.
Yes, and like
You
movie
know?
gallery and all those rental places.
Yes. And it was always so fun to like go and pick it out, or like to go
Yes.
to Redbox and like go through it. But I remember when Netflix, like when you would rent something,
Yes.
it was the the DVD that they would send you.
Yes, it would come in the mail in a little red sleeve.
Yes.
And then you had to return it or you purchased it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, such good times. Like seriously, it was so much better.
It kind of was, because there was that anticipation of this mail coming in that you were like ready to watch, and so you like got excited for it, like waiting for it to come to the door, and then when it got to the door, it was like, yes, movie, popcorn, we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, what do you want to watch? Oh, there's nothing on Netflix. Let's go through Hulu. Like all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't think if Austin saw a commercial, I don't think he would survive. I don't think he would survive. Because anytime an ad pops up on like YouTube, he's like, "Mommy, my show." Yeah, that's called a commercial, kind of. It's an ad, like 3 seconds, and I can skip it. He would die if he saw a commercial.
Mommy, why are these people singing about pills?
Mommy, what's a pimple?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Mommy, why does this doggy look sad? Is it starving? Us growing up with the AS.
Arms of the angels, far away. Freaking Sarah McLachlan. We were on the same wavelength.
We were.
We
You know,
say we share
we sing
a
that
bunch.
song to Charlie, my parents' dog,
We sing
because
it to
she
Tucker
stares
too.
at us like that and just, I mean, you've seen pictures of her. She just looks like little old Eeyore,
Yep.
and we play that song because she just looks like she's her eyes look like she's never been fed. Her body says otherwise.
Same.
Oh, shut up.
But no, we do that to Tucker too because he's like, oh, I never get fed. Nobody loves me here.
Never
So
in my many a day.
and we are. But you know what's funny is that he was originally not funny, kind of funny. He was originally rescued from ASPCA.
Ironic.
Mm,
That might be the word.
maybe.
Uh, Man,
Anyway,
like times were so much simpler. Like that's how we learned so much was watching freaking commercials. And now I feel like we just it's the brain rot of oh, I can't like I have to wait for this. I mean, I'm even guilty of it. I'm gonna
yeah,
be real
same.
transparent. I'm guilty of it where I'm like, ugh, I have to watch this ad. This is so annoying. I just want to watch my show. And meanwhile, when we were kids, it was, oh, thank goodness there's a commercial on. I can go to the bathroom. I can go get my snack.
Correct. Yeah. And then I remember when it went from that to like you could get a DVR box where you could record because we used to
Hmm.
record on VCR tapes like first. Like if you wanted to record something, if you had a VCR, you could record on a blank tape, VHS. And then it went from that to the DVRs where you could save it, like watch it, and then you could fast forward the commercials, and we all were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Hmm. Yeah, my mom did that with General Hospital.
Oh
Yeah,
man, soap operas.
yeah, um, yeah. We had DVR when I was a little bit older,
Hmm.
but I don't know. Times are just so much simpler. I feel like we had hear me out when I say this.
I'm
In
listening.
terms of technology, I feel like we had better childhoods than than children in terms of technology. In terms of technology.
This is my therapist's couch.
That's why I said hear me out.
I know. You're right though, because
Okay.
I remember getting so jacked when I got an iPod Mini, like because MP3s weren't a thing. I had like a CD Walkman that would skip anytime like I moved, and then the MP3 players came out, and I thought that was the coolest thing. But even still, like you had to actively like download stuff and put it on there and stuff. I don't know, but we did. In terms of technology, we didn't have a lot of it, so we had better childhoods and neighborhood plays and all that, riding bikes,
Hmm.
actually being involved in life. Yeah, it was better.
I mean, I you said MP3 and it reminded me. I used to have an MP3 that was like the little tiny, like I mean, it literally looks like a little bullet, you know.
Yeah.
So I remember having one of those, and like I had an iPod. I think it was an iPod Mini too, and it was purple.
Not
And
as
there
pink.
was I don't remember what game, but there was like one game on there that you could play,
Yep.
and I don't know, it was just like the most exciting thing, and like, oh my gosh, I have this little tiny thing that carries around my music, and I don't have to just listen to it on like a boombox kind of thing. Which I mean, you were a child of the '90s more than I was. I was born at the end of it, but um, I still feel like I had that '90s childhood.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the boombox. I was so jacked that Christmas. I got a boombox and it had a 3 disc changer. I was something.
Uh, I love that.
Yeah, I thought that it was the coolest thing ever. And my parents hated it. They bought it for me, or Santa did. That should be another podcast talking about Santa. Anyway, they they got me this boombox, and then anytime they pissed me off and sent me to my room, I would blare it. So like they really loved that gift, but I really
See,
really enjoyed that gift.
still better childhood.
Seriously.
I mean, no, I got a phone in 5th grade. So when I was 11. But it was because we were moving. And so many of my students that I had last year as a student teacher, so I was in 4th grade, so many of them had phones, and it was just because it was the thing to have. Like, there's no reason for these kids to have the latest iPhone, and they're on social media. Like, they would find my mentor teacher's TikTok and, scroll through it, and then my mentor teacher had to go and block them. And then later in the summer, I had one of my old students from one of those classes like find me and on TikTok and comment on some of my videos, and I was like, bye-bye, girl. Like, you
Yeah.
cannot stay here. But I don't know. I'm just like, can y'all just go play like you should be doing at
Amen.
11, 10, 11, 12 years old like we did? I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was their age in third, fourth, 5th grade, I was running around the neighborhood with neighborhood kids,
Yep.
middle of the day, riding our bikes around. We didn't really have phones. It was just come back, and we would go out like at night and play outside at night when it's dark. Granted, we lived in a safer area, so I get that it's a little bit different, but still, like,
Yeah.
I just don't see kids doing that. And I live in a complex where I've seen a handful of kids. I don't see them out, and there's a playground right outside, like a full playground right there, and I think I've seen maybe one or two kids on it this
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah, definitely like want to give my child a more of a 90s childhood. I've tried really hard with the technology and stuff, um, to we really limit that because you're right, you don't see kids playing. You don't see kids riding bicycles. I mean, our neighborhood, that's one of the reasons why we picked this neighborhood, is that we do see that here. There's little neighbor kids knocking on each other's doors saying, "Hey, you want to go ride bikes? Hey, you want to go play basketball on my hoop?" You know, I see the kids in mud puddles when it rains, and it makes my life just so happy to see. But like, it doesn't happen very frequently at all, like anymore. You don't see it. Every kid wants to be on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those things. And I think back to when I was like 10, 11 years old, and I was excited when my parents said, "Come back when the streetlights turn on." Like, that was exciting. I got to go play until the lights came on, and that was late most of the time. And like, I hope that we're able to cultivate something like that with our child, because it really was the best part of my childhood, having those memories, playing manhunt at night, hide and seek, jumping on people's trampolines, acting a fool in the neighborhood. Like, that was some of the best times of my life that I remember from being
Mm-hmm.
young. I think the closest thing that I did that would resemble something that is going on in social media now is that I had that boombox and I had cassettes, and you could put the cassette in and you could record.
Oh
And
yeah.
my friend and I thought that we were going to send this cassette to Usher, and we were going to get signed. And yeah, that was interesting. That I would love to hear that today. I can still remember what song we sang. That song with Usher about the drop top cruising the streets. Yeah, we sang that and we thought, we're going to be famous. Dog, like this is going down. Two girls from a small town.
Fifth
Yeah.
grade Ashley, who wrote in that time capsule, that's who's popping out.
I
Saying, I'm
legit.
going to grow up to be a pop star.
Yeah, that'll flow right into our next episode. But yeah, no, I mean that's the closest thing I can think of like recording or like wanting to be doing something like that, but we didn't have it. Like it wasn't a thing. And then talk about first cell phones. My cell phone was a Virgin Mobile brick. It was like this long or this wide, and then yeah, about this long. And it was $1 a minute. You had to put money on it, $1 a minute. So I thought it was cool. I like wore it on my little hip with my little cherry case on it. It was literally a brick. And I would have to call my mom and be like, "Hey, I'm ready to be picked up. Bye." Click. Because it literally, you put $10 on, you can only talk for 10 minutes. I was like, "You better call my house phone. Don't be calling my cell phone." It was really just to say, like, I had one, but it wasn't like it is now. Obviously, it was like analog and you could play Snake on it, and that was about it. The ringtones were all do 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 type of ringtones.
My first one was a BlackBerry. Like
Uh,
I don't even know. Just like a normal
yeah.
one where it has a full keyboard board across. That was my first one. Perfect phone for a fifth grader if you're like getting them a phone to keep in touch with friends like
Mm.
after moving. But I don't know. There's no need, and so many of my students are so enveloped in not just social media but just in their phone and that instant gratification that they're so used to of like, I need to message this friend back, I need to do this, I need to do this right now, like it can't wait. Yes it can. Yes it can. And social media has destroyed that patience, which is why they can't sit in class for 50 minutes without going berserk and haywire and talking every 30 seconds to each other. Like it's genuinely insane to see how much damage the instant gratification that has come from social media and having that much technology at our fingertips has
Hmm.
done to, I mean, brain development, but like attention span. It's insane.
Right. And being completely honest, even myself, like when I'm texting somebody, I'm hoping to hear from them pretty quickly, you know? So, but I think it's even worse for these kids. They don't have a grid of what it's like before, and if you wanted to talk to somebody, you would call them. And if they didn't answer their house phone, you left a message and you might get a call back, you might not. I mean, it wasn't like it is now where you literally can, at any hour of the day or night, you can text somebody and have access. And I think that's the thing that bothers me the most about social media and the kids is the amount of access that the internet put like has to on these children.
Yeah. I was definitely put in like some very questionable positions as a young teen. I don't even want to say teen, like a young preteen, because of social media, and then coupled with lack of parents, right? That we've talked about, and lack of presence, which is very, very common, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And I shouldn't have access. I shouldn't have had that much access to the internet in general. And I mean, we see parents posting their kids in in a way that they're like a performative way, right? And their kid is 3.
Yeah.
And then you see 300, 400 saves, 1,000 saves. And it really makes you think, well, what are those saves for? Because I'm looking at this video and nothing is really save worthy. Maybe like worthy, but it's not save worthy. And that's where the problems start to come in of yes, not technology. I mean, yes, technology, but social media has done a lot of good of bringing people together, and it has done so much harm in bringing people access to stuff that they should not have.
Yeah. I mean, I have a similar I had similar things go on when the internet first started. And there was the AIM instant messenger. I was put in some pretty compromising positions, and probably, I don't know if it's too unhinged to say, but I'll say it this way. Saw my first male anatomy through instant messenger at like 11. Um and that's nothing compared to now. Thinking about what these kids have access to on the internet. This was some grown man who had no business IMing a child, but yet I was pretending to be someone I wasn't, right? So there's two ways to that, but still, like, I think about that and like how much that kind of screwed with my head as a kid, and now these kids having the access to pornography and everything else. I mean, it's kind of scary. I mean, and I didn't have parents that were good at monitoring either. Um, but that's even more present today. Social media has these parents zombified as well. They're so worried about how many likes my post is going to have, and they're neglecting their children, and they have no idea what their children's doing in their room. They have no idea what they're doing with friends or even at school. And it's just a way different place even on the internet than it was in the 90s and 2000s, early
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah. I mean, along those lines of being put in compromising positions in terms of sexual like exploitation and things like that. I was 10 the very first time that I was ever exposed to porn because my friend and I were typing YouTube into the URL spot, except we accidentally forgot a letter and it took us to a porn site.
Yep.
And I mean, we're both here, 10 and 11 years old, just like completely shocked, didn't know what to do, exited out real quick, like terrified. And we just shouldn't have had access to that
Right.
whatsoever, except we did. And the fact that it was even allowed to happen. And I mean, in just a variety of ways, the fact that it was allowed to happen is, I mean, baffling.
Yeah. Well, and then you have all these young men and women who have normalized pornography because they've been seeing it from young ages. Because I know at least when internet first started, there was heavy parental controls, and you still can have heavy parental controls these days. But a lot of these kids are too smart for it, and they know how to go around it, or the parents are not. They're not doing it, and it just creates this more issues for the future. Like, porn has always been around in any form, like, magazines and movies and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's never been at the fingertips of, like, you literally can just type in what you want to see and it's there.
Yeah.
That's
I
scary.
mean, you don't even have to type in what you want to see. You could literally just type in porn and it'll bring up
Right.
a million and one videos
Yeah,
that, and like kids have learned this word, so all they have to do is go search it,
right.
and there's no parental controls on their phone. I know there aren't, because I see the way that they behave, where you look at social media. And I mean, I have I work in a middle school,
Mm-hmm.
so it's at that age where it's really starting to get, I mean, hormones are going haywire. They're all over the place. They're starting to, kind of regulate, but then in 7th grade where I'm at, a lot of them are really starting to hit that puberty age where, I mean, their hormones are all over the place. And I was talking with one of our school counselors, and she was saying that she has had students before, like, come up to her and say, I am pregnant and I've slept with a few different people, so I don't know who it is, like who the dad is. And keep in mind that middle school is ages 11 to 14, and 14 is at like the end of the school year essentially, like that, and those are your 8th graders. So for that to even happen, it's because they're consuming all of these things. And that doesn't even go to porn. I'm not even talking about that. Just they're consuming all of this information of relationships and, you know, hookup culture, all of these different things that you get from social media that we didn't really have access to in the same fashion that they do. We still heard it, right? But like we didn't have access to it in the same way. So to hear that, I mean, I was shells shocked. I genuinely didn't know how to feel when I was told that. And it breaks my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was just thinking as you were talking, I'm really big on the brain. I like to think about or like research stuff about the brain. And I was just thinking about how the frontal lobe is not fully developed until they're like 23 years old. And can you imagine what damage just seeing some of the things that you can see on the internet does to that development wise, you know? And it genuinely scares me for like the future. Like, what it's just scary. It's scary to think about what it's doing to these poor kids. And it's not even really their fault. You know,
It's
your
not.
the parents and adults are not doing their job and saying, no, you're not getting a phone, or no, you're not getting on the internet. No, you're not having a Facebook. No, you're not having an Instagram. Like, those are all things that can be prevented by the parent or the guardian or whoever's in charge of these children. But it's not being done. So then we're seeing all of this develop, and you're seeing it firsthand as a teacher, whereas I don't see that, on a daily basis because I don't work with children right now. But when I did, I was seeing that. I mean, things like just seeing some of the TikTok dances. I remember like when I was working with kids in the community, these girls, like, they just wanted to be barely dressed, shaking their bodies. And I'm talking like 8 years old, 8 to 10, and 10 on. Um, so when you say these kids saying they're pregnant in middle school, I believe it just based on the little bit that I've seen working in the community with kids and teens, and just seeing how I see some kids come to church. Even I'm like, you're you're wearing a crop top and short shorts with your parents. Like, I don't know. To me,
At church.
yeah. And just see, and I'm not trying to be judgmental, but like, it makes me just want to cover them up because they're kids. Let them wear mismatched clothes and get dirty and jump in mud puddles. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It does really bother me. It makes me kind of sick. Even when I see young like competitive cheer girls that are like under the age of 10, just dressed in nothing, or like toddlers in
Hmm.
tiaras, things like that. Like
Hmm.
that's abusive in my opinion. That's my
I,
opinion.
I agree. I agree with you. I mean, even going beyond the childhood, the adverse effect that we're seeing on children, social media, if you take it up to adults who have a fully developed prefrontal cortex, right? I can speak for myself. I mean, because of my childhood and many other things that happened during childhood outside of social media, I always had a negative body image issue. And then
Mm,
you hop on social media and it gets worse, right?
yeah,
And so
amen.
I've been in those positions where I'm like scrolling and it it could be a friend that I'm looking at, or you know back when I was in high school, like looking at people that I went to high school with, like their Instagrams, when I would follow them and stuff, and just the constant comparison that happens. It happened so instantaneously, so naturally, because it was so easy. It was so easy to look at somebody and just be like, oh, well, why don't I look like that? Well, now I kind of feel like shit. And that's why it just fed into having an eating disorder for so long. I mean, it was 20 years of my life where I
Yeah.
struggled with disordered eating and an eating disorder. 20 years on and off. Like, I mean, since I was 7, 8 years old up until recently. And you still struggle with it. So I mean, social media did not help that at all. And I'm not saying that there aren't good things that come from social media. There are. There are absolutely wonderful things that happen. We've been able to see so many connections that happen. One that comes to mind, I don't know if you've seen it. Um, but there was a story of a woman who accidentally texted the wrong phone number, and she like thought it was her grandson,
Oh
inviting
yeah.
inviting him to Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and he texted back a picture and was like, pretty sure I'm not your grandson, because she's white and he's black, and it was just like kind of a not really about race. It was just, but that was the context of the thing. And they've spent Thanksgiving together, I think, I want to say it's 8 years now,
Aw,
every
I didn't
single
realize it was that
year.
long.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cute.
been, but every single year. And so there's really beautiful stories and things that happen from social media, but there are so many negatives that I don't know. I've heard so many people recently say we were never meant to have this much access to each other. And I completely agree. I could not agree more.
Yeah. I mean, going back to like comparison and looking at people's images on the internet, let's talk about filters. Let's talk about like it started with just color filters on your photos, and then it turned into Facetune and BodyTune and these filters that are like preset. I mean, I go on TikTok live and there's this filter that's already there. I didn't place it there. And it puts a false image of like what I actually look like. And it bothers me because it distorts my picture. But like thinking about these kids, like I know my younger siblings, they used to only use Snapchat because there were filters on it. They didn't want to take a picture on the camera because it was their raw self. I just think about how damaging that part is. I totally agree on the body image piece. My whole life struggled the same way and still do. And then when you put that together with being able to tuck this and do that and filter this and filter that, like what's real and what's not, and then you start to compare. Well, my photos don't look like that when they're taken because that's not how they were taken. I don't know. I just think about that too. I mean, Snapchat started for like entertainment with the filters and the funny little ones, and that's fine. But I'm talking about these beauty filters, these face tunes, these let me put fake lashes and make your lips bigger because your lips aren't good enough. I don't know. I think about the kids that are using them, and then when they see a photo of themselves, because I've seen them say it at church, even like, "Ooh, I hate that picture. Why does my nose look so big?" Like something was
Yeah,
wrong with the way that they were created, and it makes me sad.
yeah, I don't know, it's so mind-boggling to me how something seemingly innocent can have such a destructive force behind it.
Hmm.
And it is unintentional, right? Like
Yeah.
the people that created Facebook, like Zuckerberg, it wasn't intentional harm as far as I'm aware, right? Like when he created it, it
Well,
literally
Facebook.
was a connection thing for Harvard students.
I was gonna say Facebook didn't even start the way that it is now. You had
Right.
to be in college to have one.
Yeah. Right.
Because I had a MySpace, and
Oh,
that caused
MySpace.
issues because of the top 10 people friends that you can have. I remember just the heartbreak I would have. Like, you put her above me, or like just like this
Mhm.
argument of like, oh, you have a top two and I'm not even on it. Like that started there. But yeah, no, Facebook definitely didn't start with that intention. It had good intentions. Like a networking is what it was for.
Right. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's why the movie that they created was called Network or The Network or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Instagram, again, wasn't really created with, intention to cause harm. TikTok, which used to be Musically, right?
Hmm.
Snapchat, all of these different things. However, it did cause harm and continues to cause harm. And the only way to really fix that is to limit it, like limit access to it. I mean, even adults need to I've on my phone, I've removed social media from my home page. So I have to go search for the apps to open them up if I don't have notifications on. Like, or if I not if I have notifications on, but if I have notifications, like obviously I can just click on it and it'll open it for me. But if I don't have any notifications, for me to go sit and take the time to go scroll through TikTok and Instagram, I have to go out of my way to go find it. Like it's not just front and center on there. Um, Another thing that's really really big is the like factor of ability to be anonymous on social media.
Yeah.
Anybody can create a Facebook, an Instagram, a TikTok, whatever, without using their real name, without using a, their picture, anything like that. They can be whoever they want to be and then use it to cause intentional harm.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've done that on there used to be this website. It was called While You Were Sleeping, and it would expose people's intimate photos like anonymously. This was when I was in high school, and it's now not, it's taken down and banned, but I just remember it ruining people's lives, and you had no idea who posted them. That was the whole like allure of it. It's like you had a problem with someone and you had dirt or nudes or whatever, and they would throw them up on there anonymously. So you had no idea who had them other than who you sent them to. But sometimes people were like, I never sent those to anybody. How do they have them? Like, that's
Oh my gosh.
scary.
That's wild. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, while you were sleeping is what it was called. Yeah, it was
That's
pretty rough.
insane.
It was pretty rough, and that goes back to the anonymity and whatever, an anemone, an anemone.
Yes. The sea
um,
anemone.
yeah, see an enemy. It goes back to the being able to be anonymous on the internet and hide, and that's pretty scary. And you're talking about like child predators, people who are running illegal sex operations. I mean, it honestly, talking about it makes me like, ooh, I should probably stop posting my kids so much, because you just never know who's lurking in the
Hmm.
shadows of social media.
Yeah. I mean, like when I was a nanny and I mean, my like personal Instagram is private. But even so, when I would post pictures with the kids that I used to nanny, I would always cover up their face with an emoji, and they all had their own emojis. They all had their own little one, and I always did it, even though my account was private, and even though their parents posted it,
Yeah.
because I just was not going to be responsible for it. And that's
And
not judgment on their parents. I love and respect their parents, and they are really strict with their kids about like technology and all of the things. But I'm like, no, I'm not participating in it. I just there's just too much danger out there that it's not worth it, especially
yeah.
when they're so little. And I mean, like, people are weird.
Yeah. Well, so when, like, in the beginning, I used to put emojis on his face. There was many reasons why, but when I think about where I post him, there, first of all, I deleted my Facebook for like 2 solid years. I deleted it completely, and I started a new one not too long ago. So I knew exactly I know exactly who I have as friends. And whereas before, I feel like there were times where I was just adding people. Whoever was wanting to add me, I was adding them back, just being young. And now I have the Facebook where I know who's on there, like every single person. And so I felt more comfortable that, and then after adoption, to be able to, post him. And then and same thing with Instagram, because I deleted both of them, and I know who I have on there, and that's private. So the privacy of it just kind of depends. If I
Yes.
have full privacy on Facebook and full privacy on Instagram. Now TikTok is public. However, if I post a video of my child, it's only for my friends, only for the people that I'm allowing to see them. But even still, like I said, that website of while you were sleeping, some of these people said they never sent those photos or videos. How did they get accessed and put on the internet? So there's still that. It's like there's so many people who can hack into systems that it can happen even with all the highest privacy.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, talking about hacking, this isn't necessarily like, I mean, it's related to social media in a sense of I think, perfectionism and comparison, I think, and always like wanting to do well. And maybe there was a parental factor to it of wanting to do well for their parents. But for my high school, we had a huge scandal my sophomore year, I think it was. Yeah, my sophomore year of high school. So I was new to this school, and or sorry, it was my junior year, but they had about 10 or 11 different students from my high school use a key logger that you plug in between the keyboard and the computer, and it tracks patterns for like passwords and stuff. And they hacked into the district website and changed grades. There were 10 students expelled, which means to get expelled, there has to be like definitive evidence that they were part of it and did it and all of that. But they
Dang.
like hacked into the district website
Holy
and
moly.
changed, changed grades and all of the things, and they changed grades for other students who were never identified. And I know some of those students who were never identified because they had mentioned it, which I was like, why would you say anything? Shut up, because you're about to get looped into that. Uh,
Wow.
but I think it's that one, it's perfectionism. Two, they
Yeah.
learn these things, which actually a tutor helped them with it. So, and then he fled the country. But that's a whole other story.
Oh, that's tea, sis. The tea is hot. The
That's a
tea
whole
is
other
hot.
story about, yeah.
Dang.
But I mean, but it's still it's related to like I need I need to meet the certain level, and I'm
Shoot, if
not
I knew
meeting
how to
that.
do that, I
So
probably would have. Yeah. Like I did remember changing an F to an A one time on a paper. Like just with a marker.
good old
I'm not
fashioned,
kidding. I'm not
good old
kidding.
fashioned.
Shoot, if
I
I knew how
mean,
to hack, I probably would have been one of them kids getting expelled because I just felt like I could never be enough. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
I get that. I get that hardcore of just wanting to be perfect, like perfect, have the perfect grades, be the perfect child. But to have the access to learn how to do that is wild because you can learn anything. I am convinced you can learn anything on YouTube University, literally.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, another thing going back to earlier when we were talking about comparison, because
Hmm.
talking about that reminded me of another giant scandal that happened at
Oh
my
boy.
high
Hold
school.
on, let me get my tea. Go ahead. Mm.
So, talking about comparison, it was prom. This is also, was this also my junior year? This might have also been my junior year. So, it might have all been the same year.
Wow.
Um, so, regardless, I just I it baffles me that this even happened, and I can go into another part of it also, but there's definitely a comparison component of it's so fed to us to compare. And it was prom, around prom time, and some boys created a prom draft. So, like the NFL draft, but for prom dates. So they're here ranking all of these girls. And a friend of mine ended up on one of the like draft lists, and she was like, no, I have a boyfriend. Like, and he had already graduated and stuff, but she's like, no. And then I remember thinking at the time, I remember thinking, well, why am I not good enough to be on the list?
Yep.
So another component of comparison. But I mean, wild stories from my high school,
I think the
all
most
related
wild
to
story.
social media.
I think the most wild story I have. It ended up on high school pranks on MTV. Was when the for a senior prank they brought one of the ag bulls into the school, put it in the elevator with Pop Tarts, like let it in there with Pop Tarts, got it up on the second floor, and then they couldn't get the bull down because bulls don't climb stairs. That was on MTV's High School Pranks, and it was probably the
That's
most
so funny.
epic thing, and the most drama, I think.
But
Other
somebody
that,
learned that from social media, and but like the internet and
yeah,
all of that thing.
yeah, yeah, that,
Because
and
even then that was what, early 2000s?
yeah,
I mean, not early, sorry. Like mid late 2000s.
it was early, like 2008.
That's
I
late 2000s.
Yeah, I guess late 2000s, but wow, it was forever ago. But yeah, no, I mean, there was the internet then. There was YouTube. There was all of that, and
Hmm.
I know those kids didn't know that a bull doesn't walk downstairs. They had to have learned that on the internet.
Right. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just there, like I said, there's a lot of good
Oh
that can
yeah.
come from social media and technology as a whole, but there's
I
a
mean,
lot of
look what we're
damage.
doing. It's pretty freaking epic.
Yeah, this is my therapist
Yep.
couch. Awkward silence.
Anywho, I know a lot good has come from social media. You can continue now. Sorry.
I mean, well, that's how we met.
Yeah.
We
It,
met through social media.
yeah.
So, I mean, we wouldn't be friends without TikTok and
Right.
without TikTok Live.
Right.
Um, I mean, yeah, there's just there's so much good that comes from technology and social media and advances that we've made in the world and in societal development and things like that. But there are aspects that have definitely taken a hit, um, especially in the realm of behavioral and emotional development, which is something that needs to be addressed more than it is. And I know that there's already conversation about it. This is
Yeah.
not the first time that it's being talked about
Right.
ever or even recently. Like this has been talked about for years, but I think it's something that needs to be pushed a little bit more heavily because there's just not there's just not the restrictions happening that need to happen.
Yeah. I've learned some really cool life hacks on the internet and TikTok and things like that. I do love the fact that there is a togetherness and meeting people from all over the place, which is both good and dangerous. But I wanted to go back to TikTok Live for a sec because we were talking about like young kids, like being over sexualized and things like that. I remember like I was doing a TikTok Live of I was painting and there was this young girl who like told me her age and she was 11 and I'm like, first of all, how are you on TikTok? And because you're not allowed to be that age and be on TikTok, but they know how to buck the system. This is what I'm talking about. She's just like, I need advice. My boyfriend doesn't love me, and I'm like, you're 11. I'm like, go play kickball with your friends. Like I was like, I was like, please get off my live and go do something else. Like you're 11, and I just think about that, and like you're going in and you're telling the whole chat. Now, my lives, I don't have a lot of people, but there are people who have hundreds of viewers. Could you imagine you go in, you're like, I'm 11, I'm looking for a boyfriend, the pervs, like, and she posts videos, and I would just never, I see the way that she dresses in them, and it scares me for society. Like, it scares me
Mhm.
for these children because where are the parents? Why are they not monitoring that? I don't know. There is good and bad. I feel like right now, sometimes the bad outweighs the good of it. Even with like bullies. I mean, we had to deal with bullies in person. Then you add internet bullies, and they're ruthless. People on the computer or the phones are ruthless. They will say whatever they want to say. And I can't imagine having to deal with that. I mean, I dealt with that somewhat in middle school and high school, but to start to just that be you're more worried about your internet bullies than you are the people in person because the same people aren't going to talk to you like that in person.
Yeah.
It's caused young kids to commit, you know.
Mhm. It is. There's a movie about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, but Cyberbully.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. It's a great movie. I really love that movie. I've seen it a few times, but I mean, it's a true testament to what we're talking about, I think.
Yeah.
But I I think at the end of the day, moral of the story is that social media has its place, and
Yeah.
it's not everywhere like I think people want it to be.
And it shouldn't be in the hands it shouldn't be in the hands of a child. It really shouldn't.
I agree. I agree.
Hey, this is Ashley, and you just finished listening to an episode of Not My Therapist's Couch. You can keep listening through Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Audible, and YouTube. Also, catch us on Instagram and TikTok. Hear you on the next one.